In many tribal societies, sacrifice is a necessary part of life. But sacrifice comes in all shapes and forms. Sometimes lives must be taken, but at other times, an offering of blood from the living must also be offered. In the community of Bejawa, the sport of Mbela demands that blood must be shed, whatever the age of the fighters and whatever the outcome of each match. Some people were born to fight. Their entire culture and tradition has been shaped by a history of violence. And although peace has long reigned over the community of the Bejawa people, they have never forgotten the warrior's code that governed them centuries ago. Today, for the first time in over 200 years, since their ancestors met with invading Dutch traders, the Bejawa have invited our film crew into their inner circles to witness a unique sport practiced nowhere else in the world. Not only will we be their first foreign guests, but we'll also be the first to record the art of traditional boxing, known locally as Mbela. The Bejawa community traces its roots to a time when tribal warfare determined land ownership, territorial control and access to natural resources. Wars were bitterly fought and lives regularly lost. But now, during more peaceful times, the tribes are more welcoming of both their neighbours and visitors. As the Bejawa gradually formed their own permanent communities, they settled on comparatively more diplomatic ways of ironing out their differences. And today, we'll be witness to this age-old tradition, now played as a sport rather than a diplomatic tool. The village of Tado lies in the heart of the Bejawa community. Tucked away in the northernmost part of Flores Island, it's a grueling 10-hour drive from the capital city of Labuan Bajo. This isolation has meant that the tribe has had little influence from the outside world.
Lihat bahwa akhir-akhir ini bahwa budaya kami di desa ini sepertinya makin banyak yang mau tidak terima lagi. Sehingga harapan saya mau bina, saya mau bimbing, saya punya anak-anak muda ke bawah ini supaya mereka tetap ya mempertahankan adat budaya ini sampai kapan saja.
Despite the introduction of Christianity from the time of the Dutch, many Bejavan customs and traditions remain unique and unaltered despite the passing centuries, and the sport of Mbela is foremost amongst these. Before the action starts, though, the community chiefs hold a traditional welcoming ceremony for their guests. The entire tribe turns out to witness preparations, which begin with the symbolic cleansing of the fighting arena. Riders on horseback complete several circuits of the area. Horses are looked upon favourably by the spirits and serve to also advertise to the neighbourhood that the Mbela tournament will soon be underway. The chiefs of the community then take over in a brief play fight, wielding their machetes in another testament to their warring ancestry. Drums and gongs now usher in the group of boxers, one from the host village and the other from a neighbouring community. Although in the actual matches the boxers will represent themselves and don't play as a team. The sport of Mbela demands an outright champion to be crowned by the end of the day, and that's what the crowds have come out to see. As in most tribal societies, animal sacrifice is part and parcel of community life. It preludes every important function and is also used as a way of appeasing ancestral spirits during times of hardship. The tribe is now predominantly Christian, although there are also Muslims within community. And so today's sacrifice caters to both religions. A pig and a goat will be slaughtered, together with a single chicken. Within minutes of its death, the chicken is cooked. Its carcass is then split open, and its entrails then unravelled and deciphered by the chiefs. This all seems steeped in mysticism, but the ritual is taken very seriously. The signs reveal if the spirits are pleased by the sacrifice and will look favourably on the Mbela fights. Fortunately, the signs are good. The tournament can begin. Amid songs accompanied by the music of the gongs, preparations are made for the first round of Mbela. The villagers fuss and flock around the first two contestants, obscuring them from view as they dress them with the traditional sarong that is worn by every fighter. Finally, the fighters are revealed. Both no taller than 4 feet and just 5 years of age. The call to fight is answered at an early age in the Bajava community, and these two boys are just about to take the first steps in a sporting tradition that will last their entire lifetime. The sport of Mbela is a remnant of times when the Bajava and surrounding tribes were constantly at war. Today, it remains a tribal tradition, and in commemoration of their ancestors, all males are required to participate in several Mbela matches from an early childhood into old age. Even today, there remains a ferocity in each fight, which overshadows the sport's more peaceful intentions. Apart from physical strength and fighting tactics, Mbela today also carries a more spiritual aim: to bless the coming year with a good harvest. The Bajava belief is that the Mbela fighters, by spilling blood during the tournament, will nourish the earth with their blood sacrifice. Therefore, the intention to wound and inflict damage on your opponent becomes even more of a priority. And this becomes evident as the matches progress, as play fighting gives way to full contact aggression. A further guarantee of bloodshed comes in the shape of the weapon strapped to the right hand of each fighter. This little cudgel is designed purposely with the intention to bruise and batter, and the material used in its fabrication further reflect this intent.
Mau boleh pandai boleh tiro non, non. Bahkan lidi ini rajut atau pukat, lalu kemudian ini nana yang akan diambil untuk sesudah pintal sebentar, lalu kemudian nana yang sudah lekat, lalu kemudian dilekatkan dengan ini, dengan botol ini, ya, di ujung alat tinju ini. Jadi sini ini sesudah nana arah ini akan dioles dengan pasir. The
first fighters to step foot in the ring are among the youngest in the community. They're both 5 years old, and like all little boys their age, have long spent their playtimes indulging in mock Mbela fights with each other. The tradition of Mbela fighting is passed down from father to son, and these boys would have already gone through some intensive training at home. Finally, for these two, it's time for the real thing. Every Mbela fighter has either one or two supporters guarding his rear. Their job is twofold: to pull back the fighter if he finds himself in serious trouble, and to guard the part of his body that is undefended when he's launching an attack. The extra length of sarong at his back is actively used by the supporters to physically pull him out of harm's way. Despite their young age, the boys give as good as they get, and the initial smiles soon give way to determined grimaces as they attempt to lay their punches. Because of their age, the boys only fight through one round and, as is tradition, give each other a hug at the end of the match. Next to fight are two 12-year-olds. They're at an age now where they can fight for the full 3 rounds. They begin by sizing each other up, trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses, throwing shadow punches to see how fast they react. And then it's down to business. The cudgel comes into play now, and the whole body becomes a moving target, with the chest, upper arms, face and back being most susceptible to attack. Damage is soon inflicted, and after 3 rounds, there's a clear winner. But he's not finished yet. A unique rule in Mbela states that if a fighter is unsatisfied by his performance, he can elect to fight another round. Chief Stanislaw is pleased by the boys' initiative.
Dia ini orang dari Jawa.
The boy is encouraged by the crowds as he finds his mark time and time again. As the crowd's excitement builds, the adrenaline of the fighting becomes infectious, and an extra match is spontaneously announced. The new fighters turn out to be the fathers of the boys who just fought. They are both obviously well-known characters in the community, and their unplanned appearance in the ring draws plenty of reaction. There are no categories in an Mbela tournament. Whoever wants to fight can do so, just as long as they are matched with an opponent of similar age and build. The fight begins, and this match is obviously going to be all about style rather than strength. And the two men put on a real show for the crowd, adding their own brand of theatrics to the fight and bringing some comic relief to the proceedings. Before long, though, they begin to tire, and one of the fighters' knees gives in. Victory is sweet for this old-timer. This match ended through forced retirement, but the winner in a usual Mbela match is determined by the number of blows he manages to strike on his opponent's body. Finally, the time has come for the main event. Although Mbela is more of a traditional pastime for the majority of the Java community, it's a deadly serious sport for the young men of the tribe, who even incorporate regular Mbela tournaments as part of their military training. The last two contestants today are seasoned and well-known fighters. And it's not just victory, but pride that's at stake as they set foot inside the ring. The Mbela competitions work to bring the community together, and this becomes a real priority when the community you live in is so isolated from the rest of the world, and they have no one else to rely on but themselves. The Bajava are therefore, not surprisingly, a very close-knit community. They work, rest, eat, and play together. And that's what makes Mbela such a celebratory affair every time the sport is held.
Mbela ini ya salah satu ritus adat ya, yang dipergunakan sebagai tanda ya, kebesaran, tanda syukur ya, lalu kemudian maknanya untuk melatih ya orang-orang Tado agar mampu ya menjadi orang yang ya bisa berperang dengan siapapun ya.
The culminating match today features two of the village's strongest players, and even as they suit up for their fight, both contenders are already sizing each other up and giving challenging stares and poses. The crowd laps up all the theatrics and cheer on their favourite fighter as the match begins. For the fittest and most agile fighters, speed comes into the equation as equally as stamina. These players tend to launch aggressive attacks very frequently, their tactic being to physically overwhelm the opposition while not allowing them any time to recover. As the rounds progress, the fighting becomes more intense, and the supporters have their work cut out keeping their fighters away from the worst of each other's attacks. Bouts now often end up with the fighters sprawled on the ground.
Yang menang, yang badan besar ini, dia bisa menjatuhkan temannya ini 2 kali berturut-turut yang terakhir. Karena itu mari kita tepuk tangan atas kemenangan dia ini.
And so the Mbela tournament comes to an end for another year. The champion has earned prestige, and the community has earned another good harvest.
Selama 5 ronde kedua dia dapat, dia menang, menjatuhkan teman. Ronde pertama sama-sama jatuh.
Umur saya 18 tahun, saya asli Desa Tado. Saya sudah berpengalaman dalam tinju selama 5 tahun, dan saya telah mengalahkan orang 5 kali. Sekarang saya mengalahkan teman saya, Elis, asal Toring. Saya merasa puas atas kemenangan saya kali ini.
Saya kali ini memang saya sangat akui teman saya memang dia banyak latihan. Sedangkan saya mungkin selama ini tidak atau kurang latihan. Saya mulai tinju baru 3 tahun berlalu. Tambah kali ini juga ya masuk 3. Kali berikut saya akan berjuang untuk bisa mengalahkan lawan lagi.
The song is a celebration of the entire event, thanking the ancestors for a successful tournament and hopeful for the fruitful harvest to come. concluding dance signals the end of the day, and the gathered chiefs and elders join in song one last time before they gradually disperse and head back to their own homesteads. Homegrown sports like Mbela continue to be played in these hidden, isolated communities. And it's because of this very isolation that they incorporate unique local meaning and custom within their rules and regulations. A living piece of history, hopefully with a long and bright future still to come.